So we have at our core who we are meant to be. And when we were born, we were spontaneity, warmth, pure emotion. No censorship, no thought, no cognition. We were the world, we were the universe, we were the one. We didn't know how not to be the one because everything was a reflection of us, because we didn't know awareness except through others. Yeah? The goal in coaching our way is to get back to that. But for you, and for most of us, and certainly for me, you got to get through what you're staring at, the crud. Do you know what crud is? I'll think of another word. Yeah? So the negative self-talk, what you're saying, what you're scared to look at, the darkness is another way to look at it. I call it the uglies. The limiting beliefs, yeah. Self-esteem. You guys, you get it. We're on the way to learning how to coach. The fears, the limits, yes, the shame. So, there's more.
So we're given boundaries.
Most of us are never taught boundaries. No, never. So then, we've got the core, we've got the crud, and then we've got the crust. And the crust is our public persona. So, what you said you're scared to look at, you don't present that to public, do you? No. Who here gets this? Yeah, so what we do over time, we're little and we're pure light. We don't know we're not everything. That's just a baby, until about the age of 5 to 7, has no critical faculty between self and others or self and the universe. It is just a oneness, which means when I was 6, I saw a fairy and no one can talk me out of it. I saw a blue fairy with wings, yay tall, running across the doorway. Because at that age, you can see anything, because there's just literally no critical faculty, there's no filters between reality and fantasy. And to this day, I saw a fairy. It was amazing. But then what happens is we start hearing the word no, which is healthy in a way. And we start hearing the condition we talked about in session 1. You can't, you don't, you mustn't, you shouldn't. I can't believe you did that. Don't do that. If you're going to do that around here, go to your room. Don't give me that attitude. Don't give me that tone. You should need to knock that off. Don't you talk to your father like that. Who do you think you are? You will not disgrace this family. How am I doing? And because we're young and we have no difference between us and the world, everything we hear is true. We have no critical faculty. We have no way of protecting ourselves from it. If it's said by a magical big person, it's the truth. And we internalize it. This is the work you and I are going to do together. We're going to undo that internalization that you say you're afraid of, but it's not you, it's your conditioning. Does this make sense? Yeah. And so your conditioning has taught you this stuff. And for some of us, it doesn't. I know 2 people in the world who didn't have all this. They just have wonderful stuff in here. It's very strange. I have no relationship with their reality. They grow up just wonderful in here. And good for them. They're miles ahead. Very successful in this industry. Doing great. But I didn't have that head start. I had this. And I was scared to look at it. And so what I did was I built a crust around me. And I would act a certain way that I thought would be liked. And I acted a certain way that would make me right. I was big on being right. No, really, I was big on being right. No, I was right. No, I'm right. Nothing exhausting about me at all. But here's the thing about needing to be right. It meant I couldn't risk anything. Because if I risked it, I might get it wrong. Don't you dare say that word around me. This is how I lived. Don't say that word around me. I was so shamed about getting it wrong. I was raised as the hero type in my family. So I had to have it all happening and all together. And I could never reveal the shame of my self-talk. So I had to act okay, like some of you have been sharing. So what I presented to the world was acting okay. And then you say, I'm too scared to look in there, and I hope this now makes sense to you. But if you look at this in the way we're going to teach you, you'll eventually see this. The only journey worth taking is to this. You are worth this. You deserve this. You will never convince me that you don't deserve all of this. You will never convince me, no matter how much you still try to convince yourself. You feeling me? That's coaching. You can bring that limit all day. I will still only see the truth of you. Now, the journey in coaching, and it takes a little time, is to navigate through and blow up some of that. Who's got some of that they need to blow up? Oh, yeah. And that's what we do. So yes, it's a goal, but it's a goal to you. How's that sitting with you? Everyone's gone really quiet. Either it was a very cool message. It was real.
It is real.
Yeah. So talk to me. Let me know where you're at. This is my calibration moment so I can sense how that's sitting with you. Hello.
Yes. So for me, I have some insecurities with speaking in public.
Yep.
When I was about 8 years old, one of my older cousins who was in his 20s was laughing at me for something that I said. And ever since, I always blank when I speak to people.
Yeah.
So speaking in public always scares me.
Yeah.
And right now, just seeing that.
It makes sense to you.
all, yes, it makes sense. It's all in my head.
Yeah. Yes. Well done. And good on you for speaking in public as well as you share that. I do appreciate what that takes. Isn't she amazing? Good on you. Keep the microphone. We'll do a thing. Just keep the microphone. So what you're seeing, how are you relating to this? Share with us what...
Fears.
Yeah.
Yes.
So instead of focusing on how to serve, you're focused here.
On fears.
Because you've forgotten, you don't know how to get back here.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yes.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is that okay? Do I have your permission?
You do.
May I ask you a coaching question?
Sure.
My coaching question is this. Who is your best self?
Who is my best self? Me.
Yeah, tell me about her.
I love people.
Yeah,
I
you
see
do.
good in everyone.
You shine, doesn't she? Have anyone seen her? She just shines.
Thank you.
Tell me more about your best
I see
self.
everyone, and I feel like I'm here for a purpose. And
How
I have
wonderful.
that need
Yeah.
to help others,
Yeah.
and I have to put that fear aside and stand
Best
up
self?
and-
Your best self did put the fear aside.
Yes.
Yeah?
Right now.
Yeah. You're doing it right now. You're being your best self right now. So your best self has put their fear aside.
Yes.
What else does your best self show up as? She's looking pretty amazing to me. So she has passion, she has purpose, she makes a difference, she puts her fears aside. Tell me more about your best self.
I want to be a great example for my children.
Your best self is a great example.
Yes, I am a great
Do you get the
example for my
difference?
children.
Your best self is a
Yes.
great
I
example.
am a great,
Yeah.
a great example for my family.
Yeah, it suits
I am
you.
a great coach.
Look at you glowing.
I have self-confidence.
Yeah.
I'm a great speaker.
Yes! You're amazing. You're amazing. You're glowing. You're glowing. How does that feel?
Sharon,
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
How do you feel?
Great.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? Your amazing best self.
Oh my God.
You just met the truth.
Wow.
Yes.
You just met the truth. But boy, was she ready to come out. It is not like that always. Man, I picked my audience member. Like sometimes it's like their resistance and that, they argue. It's like some people are so dedicated to sucking. Man, some people put more effort into succeeding at sucking than they do at succeeding at life. Dedicated to feeling the pain. This woman, you just went. That was amazing. Just amazing. Give her a hand. Thank you so much. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels really good. You were just fantastic. Thank you. So what are you learning? Tell me more about what you're... Firstly, yay. And tell me more about what you're learning. So we're now into coaching. Yeah.
I think you have to be aware. You have to be aware of, like,
where you came from, you have to be aware of the shit you're carrying
Yep.
around. And then even just seeing what you are now. You know, I'm picturing it in my head as, you know, I was born and whatever kind of stuff came my way, I held on to it and I held on to it and I held on to it. And I got bigger, but it wasn't really the me. It was, I became, you know, minimalized under all of this other crap
Yeah.
that became what everyone else was going to see. And then I found whatever cover there was for that and became whatever I thought people
Perfect.
wanted to see.
Perfect.
And lost, you know, so now it's like,
So you lost you.
I lost me, and now I have to kind of, you know, go, all right, I'm going to be, ever since this journey of becoming a coach, I've said, I'm going to be vulnerable. That's who I'm going to be. And when I don't know something, I'm going to raise my hand, and when I fuck up, I'll just fuck up, and that'll be okay. And I'm going to take every opportunity to learn from that. And so now, like, one by one, I'm kind of taking off this shame, and I'm taking off this fear, and I'm taking
Beautiful.
off this vulnerability, and just going, like, I got to get back to who I am. My kids are going, who are you now?
Good.
And my husband's going, what happened? And I'm going, well, get used to it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the real me that hasn't been me in a really long
Wonderful.
time. But
That is
we
so
gotta get
awesome.
there.
That is awesome. It's so good. For me, it was a friend of mine said, you're changing. And I said, yes.
My kid just the other day, and he kind of pissed me off, but then I had to go back and be vulnerable and apologize. And he was like, so Mom, ever since you've been doing this coaching, he's 16, ever since you've been doing this coaching, you take every opportunity to talk to us and make it a lesson. And I was like, and?
Yes.
And he's like, well, sometimes I just want you to tell me what to do. And I was like, but that's not me doing the best for you, and you need to learn. And he was like, this coaching thing, man. You're going to appreciate this one day, I promise. And it actually, like, he pissed me off. It was like the first time that I gotten so mad at my child, like that angry. And I took him to work, and he got out of the car, and I was like, I love you. You know, he went by, and I was just like, you know, and I drove away faster than I should have. And when he got home, like 5 hours later, he was just like, I was like, oh God, it's still there. And I pulled him into another room. We have a good relationship, and I said, I'm sorry. I treated you poorly.
Well done.
I didn't listen to you. I reacted badly, and I'm sorry. And I'm really sorry. You know. And he was like, "We're okay, Mom." And I'm like, "Thank you."
That's awesome.
But like,
Good on you for giving him that gift.
Yeah, and I'm learning my lessons from him and my daughter, and just like I didn't need to be like, you know, you were wrong, kiddo, and how dare you kind of tell me your backyard coaching, whatever you don't know. But like he had a message, and it was a true message. And
It was his voice. It's his core. It was his core, and you finally met him with your core.
Yeah.
That's as good as the moment can be.
Yep.
That's the love the love we aim for.
And he knows that he can trust me.
That's
that
wonderful.
He can say things, even if I disagree, that he can say them, and I know that I can hear them
Yeah.
honestly and presently and with great sense of awareness
Well done.
to be better.
Well done. On the way to your core. Thank you. What else are you hearing with this? Yeah, give her a hand. Yes, ma'am.
I know that so much of the shame and, you know, I built up so many things to protect myself. Because growing up and being told, I used to tell my mom, I remember as a little kid, Mommy, whatever, we tell her my feelings, and she's like, we don't talk about feelings.
Wow.
Or she'd say, I love you, and just like throw it under the rug. And I'm like, but I'm hurt, or Maggie hurt me, or whatever.
Yeah.
And she would say, you know, look me straight, I love you. So I grew up saying there's something wrong if I'm feeling this or that. Don't talk about feelings, like overeat or whatever. Just stuff them in get addiction. And so, you know, then I went to the other end and got really skinny and just like, well, if the front and the outside and the hair and everything could be perfect,
Yeah.
then nobody's going to hurt me. Well, of course, 5 seconds into it, my insides were screaming insecurity, I'm not enough, I was a high achiever. Didn't matter because they felt the energy that I'm not okay. I didn't think I was.
You're nailing it. You guys are getting this.
So I guess the other day I hired a coach, and I've been a nurse a long time, and I love helping people, and I have a lot of compassion. But I just never saw myself stepping out. And my coach, who I just hired, said, "You're getting it. You have it now." I needed someone to validate.
Perfect.
I just needed that. But I'm so grateful, and
You're so
thank you
welcome.
so much for.
You're so welcome.
having
Thank you for
so
sharing.
much
It's amazing. It's amazing. Can I talk to this a little bit more? Is this interesting to you?
Yes.
Who got value from this? Show of hands. You got value? Turn your phone and say, I love that model. Okay, good. Let's do more of that. If you love that model, I'll take your hand. I'll just do one thing. Oh no, your hand goes above the shoulder. I'm there for you. It's a rule I have. It's like, test me now. Someone put their hand above the shoulder. Yep. 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 Okay. Did I pass the tip? Yep. So this model, to me, has been a lifeline for me because I didn't want to look within. And so looking within was so fraught for me to hear that there was a core and to realize there was a core meant everything. So the journey became worth it. So I had to excavate through the rubbish and slowly start finding the core. Part of the reason we get so addicted to believing that the crud is real is because, as you've just shared, most of us as children were never allowed to emote fully to completion. What that means is we would start an emotion and it would be interrupted by a big person. Don't pull that face around me, young man. Knock that off. Big boys don't cry. If you're going to cry, go to your room. Or I'll do it around sadness. That was a very common one. That's a common one for a lot of people. And so what happens is it's interrupted. An interrupted emotion in a child. Can we get the phones to silent? That'd be great. An emotion interrupted as a child becomes what we link shame to. This is your story. And we link shame to that emotion. And it becomes toxic shame because it's how we identify ourselves. So instead of saying, I feel sadness, I feel shame. And that's where you were. And a number of you have shared that. And I can tell from your notes you're relating to it. So instead of feeling the emotion or knowing how to feel the emotion fully and healthfully, instead we feel shame and interrupt ourselves and hit the uglies. And this is as far as most of us go. So a big part of the journey that I'd love to take with you is to figure out, okay, what emotions have I not allowed myself to have? And then can I be present to someone who I can trust, who will let me experience that emotion fully to completion without shaming me, without interruption. It's called mirroring or witnessing. Has anyone heard of this?
Yeah.
You have. And it's powerful, isn't it?
Very powerful.
It's very powerful. We do it in our programs. Yeah, mirroring or witnessing. So I'll be talking, I've had so many of you ask about our programs, which is so gratifying. Thank you so much for all your questions. I'll talk about them after lunch. Is that okay if I introduce you to how you can be involved with us past this weekend? Would that be all right? Yes. Yeah? Yes? Yeah, thank you. And I'll talk with you then about how we can hook you up with a witnessing or a mirroring partner. And what I did was this. I got a witnessing partner and I would have done it, I say it was 30 times, he says it was like 100. Who's counting? Maths is not an exact science. And I would share, this is how I recovered got rid of the crud and got to the core. And I would share, okay, when I was younger, it's hard for me to remember now because I've done the digging, but when I was younger, I was shamed when I didn't speak well in front of one of my parents' friends. I realise now that wasn't okay. In fact, I'm kind of pissed off about it. And I think how I should have been allowed to feel about it was pretty pissed off. That I'm a child and expected to be perfect. That is ridiculous. See how I'm starting to emote? So I got out of my head and into my body. I should have been allowed to feel pissed off. And my witness partner, what do you think they said to me? So it wouldn't be a shameful thing, wouldn't be an interrupting. What do you think my witnessing partner would say to me? Tell me more. Well, fuck. I'm 6 years old and I'm expected to speak perfectly and be perfect around big people who know the rules, who made up the rules, and never tell me the rules until I break a rule? How am I supposed to get that right at that age? And I've carried that all these years trying to get this right. That is ridiculous. I'm having it to completion without judgment, without being shamed. And my witness partner said that wasn't okay. It was not okay. Now here's the beauty. Who's digging this? Yeah, no, yeah. Talk to me. If I'm all alone, I'll stop. That would be weird. Okay, double thumbs up. So, where was I? Because I just got self-conscious. I had a moment of self-consciousness because I felt like I felt a bit alone, and I needed to reconnect. Yeah, and so they said that wasn't okay. And no, it wasn't okay.
Right.
It was not okay that happened. And I reclaimed what I know should have happened when I was 6 years old. That should not have happened. It was not okay. And my witness partner just said, no, it was not okay. That was messed up. It was messed up. Now, here's that's what I was going to say. This is the beautiful thing about it. When you work with a witnessing partner who's a fellow coach, and they do this gift for you, what do you think happens to your feelings around that? The event that you've been crudding for all these years. What do you think happens? You can let it go. It gets into conscious awareness. Come on, go deeper. You feel supported, go deeper. Validated. What do you think should have happened to that 6-year-old?
That's what you should have been validated.
Should have been validated.
Okay, right.
What do you think the big people should have said when I messed up my lines in front of the big people?
It's okay.
It's okay.
We love you.
We love you. You're doing great. I love that you're come on, why am I doing all the work here? I'm then the coach. Dude, you want coaching? Work. Let's go. What else could they have said to me? I'm not letting off the hook. You're here to do the work.
We
Huh?
all make mistakes.
I love you.
We all make mistakes.
We make it's gonna yeah, you be human, you. You bring your human. No one's bring your human. Bring all of you, however you bring it. That's what I should have hit. So guess what your mirroring partner says? You be all of you. You had every right to be all of you. As you are is absolutely as... Yeah, it is. And I just reclaimed that moment. Bless you. And guess what happens?
Take it away.
One down.
Yeah.
One down.
Yeah.
And then guess what I did the next day?
Another one. And another one.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
Until
Get back to the core.
what's that?
Yeah.
There it is.
Live your true self.
That's it. Living your true self. So then you like looking inside.
Yes.
How does that sound?
Awesome.
Do you guys want to have a go at doing that?
Yes.
Yeah, we should reclaim us. I trust you got value from this podcast. We had so much fun and delighted in bringing it to you and for your loved ones. If you haven't yet, your subscription would be absolutely fantastic. Your subscription and your feedback means that we get to rate higher. If we get to rank higher, more people get to hear this message. You can also help out if you'd love to. Once you subscribe, by sharing this podcast with someone who you believe this message may resonate with and create a discussion around it. Just enjoy it and interact with it however you choose, but most importantly, we'd love your subscription. See you at the next episode.